And this
Sidebar.
ties directly because you got Harrison Ford.
Right.
And they're thinking, okay,
we're
going to have something similar. But did you get a chance to take a look at all the other actors they thought of before Harrison Ford for this movie?
No.
Let me read you some of them.
Oh, no.
Because it's just going to blow your mind.
Oh.
The original screenwriter was Hampton Fancher. And Philip K. Dick did not like the screenplay. And when they realized
first problem.
But I will, to their credit, when they realized he didn't like it, they started to have a correspondence back and forth to correct the screenplay to where he was happy with it. And his vision in his head of what Ridley Scott brought to screen, Philip K. was extremely happy with at the end. And he said Roy Batty, that Rutger Hauer's performance as Roy Batty could not have been more perfect.
Right.
Which is just it's heartwarming because one, I love Rutger Hauer. I love his performance. But here's a list of some of the people. The screenwriter originally envisioned Deckard being Robert Mitchum. And then they couldn't get Robert Mitchum.
Way too old for that part.
Exactly. It made no sense. Yeah,
Robert Mitchum in his prime, sure.
In his prime, sure.
Yeah.
He's going to be Sean Young's love interest?
He had to be
as
in
Rachel?
The 70s?
Easily.
So
here's it gets they're worse.
Okay.
There's worse.
Okay.
So Gene Hackman. And Gene Hackman's older still than
Harrison Ford was,
Sean Connery. They thought Sean Connery could play it.
See, they're trying to tie well-established actors to this. And
Jack Nicholson, Paul Newman, Clint Eastwood, Tommy Lee Jones, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Peter Falk, Nick Nolte, Al Pacino, and Burt Reynolds. However, after they spent months...
Burt Reynolds. See, they were going with every male star at the time.
Because you know who they got closest with? You want to take a guess who they got closest with? I didn't mention him yet. Dustin Hoffman. They got closest with Dustin Hoffman, and Dustin Hoffman had creative differences with their vision and opted out. But they had started the process.
It's not like Dustin has talent up the ass, but you talk about somebody just totally wrong for...
He's not a sci-fi guy.
That's
He's
what
a drama emotional actor.
Dustin Hoffman never did sci-fi. So why would they consider... That's weird, man. Well, more than half the people they mentioned never did sci-fi. Sean Connery did.
Yeah, but it's one of those things like you look back and you're going, okay, it's interesting to think that they thought.
So even
think how different the movie would have been.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think we'd be. I don't think we would have been talking about it.
Clearly not.
But that's this weird thing too. Even like Arnold is not right for this movie because it's not an action orientated movie. And that's what he was doing right then and there.
Yeah, that
so again, to smell not the right fit
was never going to work. Never.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. Now they had other people that they looked at for some of the other major roles, but the only role that they didn't look at anybody else, the only role, and he was signed sight unseen. He didn't have to He didn't have to, come in and do anything about it. He had the gig. Yeah, because I think Verhoeven had seen a couple of his movies.
The only one I remember him in before that was, or around the same time, was the Nighthawks with Stallone. I don't remember if that was before or after.
I think
I never knew who he was before Blade Runner.
Yeah, because Nighthawks was in 81.
Okay, so
and this was 82, so he just came out. Yeah, and he was in a bunch of stuff, but this. In fact, Rutger Hauer said something to the effect that this is a perfect movie and needs no explanation. That he was so happy with this movie that it made, like, he was done almost after the movie. He just, he really enjoyed the whole thing.